Hey there, Dungeon Crawl fans. Welcome back to Dungeon Crawlers Anonymous. My name is Ron, and today we're going to be kicking off our gameplay video of Sanctum. Sanctum is a 1 to 4 player competitive adventure game where you're going to be moving through the world of Sanctum, fighting demons, leveling up, collecting loot, and facing down against an evil demon lord at the end. And whoever does the best job, has the most health remaining after defeating the demon lord, is the winner. Before I jump straight in, I do want to let you guys know that there is a box tour video of this that I've included in the description below, as well as a setup video walking you through how to actually set up the whole game. But if you've already watched those, then you're ready to kick off actually jumping into the game itself and seeing how it's played. Now, I set up the game for 2 players with 2 characters all set up and ready to go, but for the purposes of showing you guys how the game plays, I'm just going to stick with one character taking turns with them and take turns with the other character offline. I think this way I can just focus on showing how the gameplay works, showing you how the 3 different types of actions work, and then we'll probably skip ahead to the end and I'll show you how the demon showdown works. So hopefully that works out for you guys. Hope that makes sense. What I'm trying to do here is just show you how the game plays, showcase the sort of the decisions that you're going to be making, how this game uses its theme, combined with really cool mechanics in order to pull you into this world of demon slaying, but also give you the opportunity to make some really difficult, really interesting decisions. So we're going to be playing the Dancer today. The other character that I set up is the Outlaw. So I'll be playing the Outlaw kind of offline, and we'll be focusing on the Dancer and what they're doing as we play the game. So on your turn, you're going to be choosing from 3 different options to take. Their actions are move, fight, and rest. That's it. There's nothing else that you can really do in the game, and while they all have their different bits of nuance, they're fairly straightforward, and once you've taken a couple turns, I think you will feel very comfortable playing through the entire game up until you get to the Demon Lord fight, which is a little goofy, or not goofy, but it's different. Just different enough that you need a little extra explanation on how it all works. But on your turn, you're going to choose whether you move, fight, or rest. And there's no determination that says that you can't do any of these actions. For example, if you find yourself engaged with some demons and you don't necessarily have to fight them. You could keep moving, you could rest, and they'll wait patiently for you to get done with whatever it is that you're doing before you fight them. So the only real exception to this is the very first turn of the game. You have to move because you start out and you're not actually on the board. So we're going to be doing a move action with the Dancer. So if you just take a look here, the steps of the move action are advance, reveal demons, take demons, and then in gray is treasure chest with a question mark, because you may not trigger a treasure chest. If you land on a space that has a treasure chest icon, just like this one, then you're going to go through those steps. I'll go through and explain how these 3 things work, and then we'll come back later when I step on a treasure chest and I'll show you how the treasure chest works. So the very first step of the move action is advance, and it has the symbol that looks just like these spaces on the board. So when you advance, you're going to take your character miniature, which at the beginning of the game will be off the board, but will otherwise be somewhere on this board, on one of the act boards out in the world. You're going to take your character and you're going to place it in first place. You're going to place it in the next space in front of whoever is at the front of the line. So at the beginning of the game, that's this space right here because there's no other characters out in the board. If the Outlaw, for example, were to go next, he would move right here, going to the front of the line. If we were in a situation where, say, 2 characters were like this, and I had my Dancer here and the Outlaw here, and the Dancer was going to be beginning their turn, their advancement would take her all the way to the front of the line, the first space that's in front of every other character out on the board. Of course, we're not really doing that, so we're just going to go ahead and place right here. Now, the second step of the advanced action is reveal demons. Under every space on the board is a little banner underneath the space itself showing you what you need to spawn. So in this case here, we need to spawn 5x and then 2 pairs of level 1 demons. Later on, we're just going to be summoning a pair of level 1 demons, as you can see here. So these symbols match up with the symbols on these demon cards. But in the first space of every board, it's going to be 5x. You're going to be setting out 5 sets of whatever it is that it shows you to put out. So in this case, you're going to go ahead and go to that demon deck, and you're going to draw 2 cards at a time, and you're going to make 5 pairs. So I've laid out 5 sets of demons here. As you can see, there's 5 pairs of level 1 demons. Now, this kind of having them laid out on the world like this is how they show in the book that you can put these out, but you can put these pairs out however it makes sense. For example, when I've been playing, I've actually been just taking the pairs and putting them side by side kind of above the board. so that they're easy for everyone at the table to read and see. So we'll go ahead and leave them like this for right now, and I might switch it up if it becomes too much of an issue. But this is the way they show them kind of out in the world, or in the rule book. The next step after reveal demons is take demons. So from the set of 5 that are available out in the world, and there's always going to be 5 after you move, you get to pick any set or any set of demons out there, or singular if they're singular, because sometimes, as you can see out here, when you get level 2, they're going to be out one at a time. You get to pick any of the 5 demons that are out here, or sets of demons, and put them on your board. So what you're going to be doing here is looking at the demons and figuring out what you want to pick up and have available to you. So for example, if I pick this pair of demons right here, there's a whole bunch of information that's available to me right away. For example, I can see that this is a red demon and this is a blue demon. They're both level 1. This one here will have a boots slot equipment, and this one will have a weapon piece of equipment when defeated. And then at the bottom here, you can see the numbers on the dice that you need to roll in order to defeat these demons. So in this case, this red demon here is defeated with a 3, and this blue demon here is defeated with a 6. Later on, as you get to level 2 and level 3 demons, they're going to require more dice, and you'll be able to kind of make a decision about what gems you need, what colors you need, what types of equipment you need, as well as what type of dice you have to roll. So for example, if there's a pair out there that's a whole bunch of 6s, you might want to avoid that, because that might be really hard to get, just because that's a lot of one type of number. So looking at my dancer board, I really want a blue gem, and I'll show you why later, but I'm definitely going to take a pair with one of these blue creatures, and I found that weapons are really important to have early on, so I'm actually going to grab these 2 right here, even though they're both 2s, because look we got kind of unlucky. Here's a pair of 4s, here's a pair of 5s, there's a pair of 2s. Only these 2 have different numbers, but I'm going to go ahead and grab both of these weapons anyway, or this set here with 2 weapons anyway, because you have 2 weapon slots, and these weapons are really good for modifying dice, so I'm going to go ahead and grab these. And when you take demons from the board, like we're doing, they go right up here in this demon space above your kind of paper doll here on your character sheet. You can see very faintly there's a little icon of a demon. So just start lining up the demons that you've collected here in this section. There's no limit to how many cards you can have in here. It's just, if you have more than this many, you might be in trouble. But anyway, that's how many you need, or that's where they go once you've picked them up. And that's it. That's the whole move action. We've moved, or we've advanced here. We revealed the demons, and then we took some demons and put them on our board. If we landed on a treasure chest space, we'd execute the treasure chest part of this whole process, which is fairly straightforward, but I'm not going to show it quite yet. I'm going to wait until we get to it in just a little bit later. But that's it. That's a whole action. You just move, you go through this line, and now I'm done, and the next player would get to go. Now, once it's our turn again, we get to choose one of these other actions to take. We could fight or rest. We could move again, as I mentioned before. Just because we have demons on our board doesn't mean we can't move or rest. However, there's not really a reason for us to rest yet. We're fully, we have all of our stamina and all of our focus, and we don't have any equipment to equip yet. So what we're going to do is go ahead and fight. Now, fighting is obviously the most complicated part of the whole game, but it's really pretty straightforward, especially if on the first few times you go through, just follow this step by step to make sure you're doing everything. So first, before roll, we can use potions. Now, at the beginning of the game, you're not going to have any potions unless you manage to get one from sort of the starting bonus. So for example, our dancer here doesn't have any potions. But at the beginning of combat, you can consume as many potions as you like from your player board and regain 1 stamina or focus per potion, depending on the color. So for example, if you consume a red potion, that's going to give you 1 stamina back from an ability out on your board back into your stamina pool here. If it was a blue potion, basically the same exact thing, except it'd be one of these focus, which maybe is out on an ability like this, would go back to your board. So just keep that in mind. At the beginning of the fight, you can consume potions in order to get some of your stamina and focus back. Next, we're going to take all of our dice and we're going to roll them. At the beginning, we have 2 dice, so we're going to go ahead and roll both of those. And I have this cool dice tower that I had 3D printed by a friend of mine before I got my own 3D printer, and then I painted up here. So we'll be using that today for rolling our dice. And I think if I set it right here, hopefully you'll be able to see what the results are as I roll them. So let's go ahead and we'll grab our 2 dice, which is what we start with, and we're going to go ahead and roll, and we're trying to defeat these 2 guys here that both have a 2. We'll see how this goes. All right, so we got a 4 and a 3, which is actually kind of a perfect roll. After you roll is the attack phase, and the attack phase is when you use these abilities on your cards on your board. So starting out, you're going to have a few abilities available to you that you can use, and as you gain equipment, they're going to add more and more abilities to these different slots. Right now we have some pretty basic ones. For example, we have a basic weapon here that allows us to add or subtract 1 for 1 focus, or add or subtract 2 for 1 focus. We also have a few defensive abilities, a helm that we can use 1 stamina to block 1 damage, or these ones down here, as you can see they're kind of connected, will actually require 2 in order to be able to activate. The most important thing to keep in mind with these abilities is that the resource that you have to use matches the color of the ability. So these blue ones here require focus, red ones require stamina, and these purple ones can be either. And in this case, for example, here where I need 2 to be able to activate this block, I could mix and match. So I could do a blue and a red if I needed to in order to be able to use that block. So we need a 2 and a 2 in order to defeat these guys. And right now we have a 4 and a 3. So we're going to go ahead and spend 1 focus on this plus or minus 1 to change this 3 here into a 2. And then once we do that, we're going to go ahead and place it on the card, overlapping the 2, showing that we've defeated that particular dice requirement for this demon. Now, if there were multiple dice on it that I needed, I would have to be able to do all of those before I could defeat it. But I have everything I need, so I just put this one on this blue guy, and then we'll come back and defeat him actually later on in the combat phase. Next, I have this 4, but I need another 2. But luckily enough, I have this plus or minus 2, I can drop that down to a 2 as well. Now, when the number is like this, plus or minus 2, that means it has to be exactly 2. It can't be 1 or 2. This is plus 2 or minus 2 to one of your dice. So there we go. We'll go ahead and put that on there, and we've defeated both of our demons. The next step of the combat phase is blocking. Now, if we hadn't defeated everything, we'd have to block. You only have to block demons that aren't fully defeated. So for example, if you're fighting a level 2 demon, which requires 2 dice here, as you can see, if we're doing that and we only cover up one of these, we still have to block all of his attack, and the damage is listed down here at the bottom in these red blood droplets. But in this case, we have defeated both of our demons, so we don't have to block anything. But just to show you what that works like, let's say, for example, I wasn't able to beat this red demon for whatever reason. Then he is going to do 1 point of damage to me, which I have an opportunity to block first. Blocking is simply using any of these shield abilities on your character. And for every shield, that's 1 block. So if this guy's attacking for 1, I can place a stamina on this shield and block that for 1, meaning I take no damage. If, for whatever reason, I don't have the ability to block at all, and he's doing 1 damage, then my health goes down by 1. If this health ever reaches the bottom here, then I'm dead and I'm out of the game permanently. Luckily, this isn't really a player elimination game. That's only really going to happen in the demon fight at the end, unless you're way overtaking demons without having any way of actually defeating them, which I suppose is possible, but good play, and you should avoid it without being an issue. So I wouldn't really consider this a player elimination game, as if there is anybody eliminated, it will happen in the last 5 to 10 minutes of the game. But we don't need to block anything, because we've done all the damage we need to do. So both of these demons are defeated. One other thing you can do in combat is your rage tile here. Now let's say, for example, I had rolled a 1 for my combat with the demons and I had no way to get that to the right number in order to beat that second 2 because I've used my plus or minus 1 already. So in that case, I can flip over my rage tile to use it, and I get what this icon says here. So in this case, this icon, you're going to see it throughout the game, and it basically means set a dice to this face, and the question mark means any face. So in this case, with every character, all their rages work exactly the same, which is you flip it over and then you choose any dice face you want to set that die to. So in this case, maybe I'd set it to a 2 so I could defeat that demon. To get your rage back, you have to have dice that you can't assign and you can't modify in any way. If you get to the end of a combat, there's still monsters alive, you don't have your rage, and you can't assign a die, then you get your rage back at the end of that combat. You can't use it that combat, but you can use it in the next one. So it's kind of an interesting dichotomy between using your dice and then ending up in situations where even if you can't defeat a monster, your character is going to get upset you know they're going to get their rage back and they'll be able to use that next time to hopefully keep up with the other players as they're making their way through the demons. A really cool little side mechanic, so keep your rage tile in mind when you're doing combat. The next step of fight is gain levels and items. Easily the most complicated part of the whole game is this right here, but let's just walk through it really simply and you'll have no problem playing this game. One by one, you're going to take a card that you've defeated and remove your dice from it. And then go ahead and pull it out in front of you and look at the level and color of the card shown here. For example, in this case, this is a blue card and it is level 1 because it has 1 gem in the upper corner as well as the little single horned demon icon. So this is a blue card that gives us one blue level. Well, what does that mean? We're going to look over here at our skill tree. Our skill tree is divided into 3 colors, red, green, and blue, these columns here. And each of these cards and tokens has gems on it, as you can see here, that are of those colors. Whenever you gain a level, you get to take a gem of a matching color and move it up 1 step on your skill tree. So for example, with this 1 blue gem, I could move this blue right here up into my gem pool. I could also, if I wanted, move a white gem, because whites are wild and they match all colors. I could move a white gem up 1 step. Notice how if I moved it from level 3, it would move to level 2. If it was on level 2, then it would move to level 1, and if it's on level 1, it moves to the gem pool. You always move these up 1 level at a time. If you gain multiple levels, which you will on higher level demons, you have to do each step individually, pausing in between in case anything unlocks. And to show you what an unlock looks like, we're actually going to go ahead and move 1 blue gem here off of versatility. So I'm going to take this blue gem and I move it up 1 step, putting it on Shadow Dance at level 2. Immediately when one of these skills, whether it's a card or a token, is completely devoid of gems on it, you unlock it. In the case of these cards, you're going to go ahead and take the card, you're going to flip it over, and you're going to place it on your character sheet over the skill slot that matches the art. And the skill that we've unlocked in this case is versatility, which is during the attack phase, when modifying dice you may treat a plus as a minus and vice versa. Right now that's not all that helpful because this guy here is already a plus and a minus, but a lot of the abilities you're going to get in the game are only pluses or only minuses, and this versatility in my opinion is a very powerful card which allows you to manipulate dice with even more flexibility. And we've gone ahead and gained that level, and we gained a skill. Now, one thing that's really important to keep in mind is if, for example, we had unlocked, I'm just going to move this down just for the sake of illustration, if we unlocked this level 2 ability instead, or skill instead, and we still had more blue levels, you still move up from 3 to 2, placing it in this darkened space right here. So you don't skip this just because that skill card or skill token is gone, it's just no longer something that you have to unlock from your board. Let's go ahead and move this back to where it was, so I don't get confused. Now then, the next thing we do after gaining our level is we flip the card over to see what kind of equipment we've earned. In this case here, we've gotten a guitar. You can see here it's 1 blue gem, it's a level 1 item, it's a weapon, and it has 2 abilities on it. We can place a focus here to subtract 1 from a die roll, or we could place a focus here to add 1 to a die roll. And of course you could do both of these over time as you're doing combat. So this is a cool item, I'm really excited about this. Any flexibility is great. And we're going to go ahead and place that right here in our gear bag. Now your gear bag is unlimited in terms of space. You can place as much gear as you want or need in this bag. Next we're going to go ahead and do this red card as well. So this is a red demon, it's level 1, so we get 1 red skill. Now like I mentioned before, we could do white if we wanted as well. I'm going to go ahead and pull this red gem up here off of martial arts. Now, martial arts still has a gem on it, so it's not fully unlocked, but I'm a little bit closer to getting it unlocked. And then after we get our level, we flip this over and see what it is. This is a war axe, plus or minus 2 or plus or minus 3. Big numbers, really cool. Very versatile too, because you can add or subtract. I really like this weapon, and even though it doesn't really benefit from our versatility, this is just going to be nice to have. So we'll go ahead and put that in our gear bag as well. It's important to note that during combat you cannot equip these items. That's not part of the fight step, that's during the rest action instead. So simply put those in your gear bag and you're good to go. Next, we check achievements. There's 2 types of achievements that you can unlock at this point after the fight is completed. There are 3 types of achievements you can earn: skill achievements, gem achievements, and item level achievements. These first 2, skills and gems, can be unlocked at the end of a fight. This first column here, if you are the first player to have 3 unlocked skills, whether that's a skill card or a skill token, as denoted by the 2 shapes here, you get this achievement. You pick this up and you place it next to your player board. These achievements can be used at the end of the game against the Demon Lord. This middle achievement here on the achievement track is for gems, and it's for collecting gems, unlocking them. This can be in your gem pool as well as on items you have equipped, which we'll talk about in just a moment. So in this first case, if you were the first player to have 2 of one color and then 2 of another color, so 2 pairs of gems, you would unlock this achievement. It's very important to note that white gems do not count in this case, so you'd have to have 2 actual reds, 2 actual blues, or 2 actual greens, some set of 2 of each of those in order to be able to unlock this. Later on, you'll need a set of 3 and 3, and then eventually a set of 4 and 4, although in our game, as we determined during setup, because it's 2-player, that one's actually not available at all. And that's how you do the fight action. The fight action is probably the most complicated action, especially because you're going to be gaining levels, and it's certainly the action where you're going to be thinking a lot about what you're trying to do. You're always going to be making decisions about which of these gems to unlock, which levels, because if you unlock gems early and get them up in your gem pool, as we'll see in just a moment, that helps you kind of early game, but there might be a particular skill or ability that you really want to get unlocked, and so even though it's a lower level, so you delay getting gems out into your gem pool just to get those items unlocked. And this is where the real delicious decision making happens in the game. Now, the last action in the game is the rest action, and we're going to go ahead and do a rest right now. It's probably not necessarily what you would want to do, depending on what demons are out on the board. You might want to go ahead and grab some more demons. We may not have even wanted to fight until we had a couple sets, just because it's always good to collect demons, and that's definitely where, some of the strategy of the game comes into play, which I'm not going to try to get at here because, real talk, I'm not great at strategy. I just really enjoy playing games. So don't come to this channel for strategy, that's for sure. But anyway, here in the rest action is when you're going to kind of get back to full power, put on your new equipment, and get back out there to fight some more demons. So let's go through step by step. All right, the very first step of the rest action is restore. The restore step is where you're going to actually go through your character here and take all of your focus that you've used and pull it off of abilities and put it back into your focus pool, and the same for your stamina. So if I had used these, for example, I would get my stamina back as well as the focus I got back, as you just saw. The next step is equip items. So when you equip items, you're going to go ahead and take your equipment that you've got stored in your bag, as well as any equipment you already have on your character, and you can change all of this every time you do a rest action. You need to come up with how you want to equip your character. And there's really only a couple things to keep in mind. You don't have anything like proficiencies, or you can't use these types of weapons. Any character can put any type of card on their paper doll here. So in our case, we're just going to go ahead and throw both of these on to our character because I'd like to equip both of them. But we don't get to just put these on our board. We actually need to be able to put gems on them in order to activate them. And that's where these gems in this gem pool come from. Now, remember during setup, we actually started with 1 white gem in our gem pool on top of a dice here. That's to help you remember that the very first item that you equip automatically unlocks an extra die for your character for combat. Even if I don't use this white one, I'm still going to get that die. It's just, they're just kind of set up that way so that you'll remember it. So in this case, it's going to work out. I'll go ahead and equip the guitar. And note, I don't have any blue dice in my pool yet up here. Blue gems in my gem pool up here. I've got a red gem and a white gem. So we're going to go ahead and grab this white gem, and we're going to place it on the guitar. And now the guitar can be equipped because we've covered up every gem on the card itself with a gem that we've managed to pull out of our skill tree. Hopefully that makes sense. Basically, you're just going to be unlocking gems as you level up and then placing them on items so that you can equip them. We need to do the same thing here with this war axe, but before I do that, I need to remember that because I've equipped my first item, I get this third die for free. It's just now part of my dice pool forever. I'm going to roll 3 instead of 2. That's awesome. Now this war axe, we're going to go ahead and throw that gem on there just like that. And now we have both of these items equipped and we have access to their powers and abilities. And you can note here that they covered up what was on the board itself. That stuff's no longer available, although I could later on unequip this if I wanted to have access to what was printed on the board. The really important thing to keep in mind with this is if you have a whole bunch of items that you want to equip, you can unequip everything, take all your gems, put them in the gem pool, and then rearrange everything however you want. There's no unequip or re-equip actions or anything goofy like that. You just get to make whatever you want every time you rest, which I think is really cool. If you get a whole bunch of cool loot, you can very easily swap things around and try to figure out the best build for your character based on the number of gems you have unlocked, as well as what equipment you've actually earned so far in the game. The next step of the rest is buy potions. Now, if for every card that you have left over in your gear bag that you don't want, that you're okay with discarding, you can discard that to gain a potion of either type. It's a 1-for-1. Even if it's a level 3 item, you're still only going to get one potion. So for example, if for some reason I didn't want to or didn't have the gems to equip this Qatar, I could instead discard it back to the demon board, the horde board at the end of the table, and gain one potion. Of course, I'm not going to do that because I actually think this Qatar is going to be very helpful to us as we continue to fight demons out here in Sanctum. The last step is to check achievements, and this time we're going to be looking at the item levels achievements. The last kind of achievement you can unlock here takes place after a rest action, and you're going to check and see your item levels. So in order to determine the total number of levels of equipment that you have equipped, you're going to look at all of your items that you have equipped with gems on them, as we just discussed in the rest action, and you're going to add all of those levels up. So in this case, this is worth 1 level. If I have an item with 2 gems on it, with both gems on it, then that's a level 2 item. So this achievement right here is for adding up all of the levels of all the items you have equipped and then seeing if you unlock an achievement because of that. So in this case, for example, this first one here would be if you have 4 levels of items equipped, essentially. Now, again, in our second player game, that's not available because we randomly determined 3 that we can't unlock. This here would be for 7 item levels, and this would be for 10 item levels. The other important thing to keep in mind with achievements here is that if you are the first player to get any of these tier 2 achievements, you also get this achievement included for free. Basically, if you're the first one to get one of these level 2 achievements, you get a bonus achievement. And that's also for level 3 here. Okay, so we've moved and then the outlaw moved. We fought and then the outlaw fought. We rested and then the outlaw rested. So now we're going to move again because it's time to keep moving forward. So with a move, the first thing we're going to do is advance. Then we're going to reveal demons. In this case, we have a pair of level 1 demons again. Here's the pair of demons that we drew. A green and a red, both 6s. And one is an armor and one is a weapon. One thing to keep in mind when you see 6s and 1s is that when you're modifying dice up or down, you can't make a 1 a 6 by subtracting 1, and you can't make a 6 a 1 by adding 1. Some games let you do that, but this game, 6 is the max and 1 is the minimum. There's no rolling over. So something to keep in mind. Next, we need to choose which set of demons we want to pick up and put on our board. Now, I really want blue demons because blue demons will unlock blue gems, and blue gems, in my opinion, are unlocking some of the best skills on our character's board for the dancer, but I don't really need another weapon, and both of the sets of demons that happen to have a blue have weapons with them. So, in fact, actually looking at them, all of them have weapons except for this one right over here, which has armor and an accessory. So we're going to go ahead and grab those 2, since those are 2 items that we don't currently already have. Here are the 2 demon cards, so you can take a look. We've got a 3 here, he's green, and this is the accessory slot. And then we've got a 6 here who's red with an armor slot. So we're going to go ahead and grab those and add them to our board. Now, it's back to us again. And I think I'm going to move. I'm not going to fight yet. I'm going to wait until I have a few more demons. Now, I won't have enough to beat everything, but this is kind of a push your luck game. So it's kind of about how many demons can you grab and then defeat and then level up, and can you get these big swings without falling too far behind or getting too far ahead. So I'm going to go ahead and move again, and now this time, this guy's a little bit in the way, but you can see here, this is a level 2 demon. So we're going to go ahead and add our first level 2 demon to the board, and he is blue. Now what's cool about level 2s, and of course level 3s later on, is they give you twice as many gems. Yes, they use twice as many dice, and they do twice as much damage, but getting 2 gems gets really powerful. Now this is another weapon, which is a little unfortunate. I don't really want another weapon, but to be honest with you, I'm probably going to take this anyway because I really want the blue gems. So I'm going to go ahead and take this demon and put him on my board. All right, well, we've got 3 demons in front of us, and they require a total of 4 dice. We've only got 3, but I think it's time to fight anyway, and hopefully we can at least take out this big blue guy and get his cool items and maybe some of this other stuff as well. So we're gonna go ahead and roll our 3 dice. Now, I could use potions. I don't have any yet, so we're gonna go ahead and skip that before roll, use potion step, and do our roll. So we roll these up. All right, we got a 1, a 4, and a 5. Let's go ahead and pull those out. Now, we want to fight these demons, and I really would like to kill this blue one if it's at all possible. I'm going to go ahead and put this 4 right on here, just to take him out right away. Next, I'm going to take one of my focus, and I'm going to place it right here on the +1. Now, what's important to keep in mind is because I have versatility, which allows me to ignore that, I could put it on this -1 to add 1 instead, but I'm just going to put it here for now and not bother with that. So this 5 becomes a 6. And now I will place that on this guy, which now I know he's going to be defeated. I do still have 2 demons left. One of them is a 3, and the other one's a 6. Now I could use both of my stamina to add 3 and then +2 more, 5 total to make this a 6 and take out this red demon. Or I could just use this one here to make this a 3 and take out the green demon. So it's really about which dice do I want to unlock. Or gems, really. Which gems do I want to unlock? And I'm going to go ahead and do this. I'm going to do this red one. Now, the ability that it's going to unlock here, martial arts, isn't all that interesting to me. Martial arts replaces a weapon slot. And based on the clarification on the player card, I believe that that goes on the bottom here. It's basically like it's printed on your board, and you can equip stuff over top of it. It's an all-right ability, but what's cool is it does give us the red gem, and it's 1 more skill unlocked, and maybe we can get that 3 skills achievement a little sooner. We're trying to race to get that. So we'll go ahead and use this +2 and this +3 to make this a 6 by adding 5 to it, and then go ahead and defeat this red demon as well. Now the next step is block. This guy has not been wounded in any way. He's not defeated, so he's going to go ahead and do his full damage. He's going to do 1 point of damage to us unless we block. Now, in this case, I don't have any more red, so I can't block with that, but I do have 2 more blue, so I'm going to go ahead and spend both blue on this purple spot down here to block for 1. Pretty expensive, but hey, at least we're not taking any damage. So I've rebuffed him for now. Next, we're going to go ahead and gain levels and items. So we'll start with this blue guy. We'll pull both dice off, and we're going to gain 2 blue levels. We're going to pull both of these off of this one right here. So 1 goes up 1 level. We'll just do it one at a time. 1 level. 2nd level. Okay? When these are unlocked, these tiles here, they're going to have focus and stamina on them. As soon as they're unlocked, you're going to pull it off your board, gain the stamina or focus, and put it directly into your pool. Active, ready to be used. And then this flips over just to indicate that we've already collected it. You don't really need to worry too much about this tile, but you want to have all this stuff nearby so you can make sure that you always have the right amount of stamina and focus. Next, we're going to go ahead and see what item this is. It's a weapon. It's level 2. I'm already pretty excited, and we got Elwyn's Blade. Elwyn's Blade requires 2 blue gems, or remember, whites can be used as well because they're wild, to equip, and it has a -1, a ±3, and a +2. Very interesting set of abilities there. And of course, with versatility, this is basically ±1, ±2, and ±3. Pretty cool. That goes in our gear bag. Next, we're going to go ahead and defeat this red demon as well. So we gain 1 red gem, which, as I mentioned before, I'm going to go ahead and use on martial arts to unlock it. So when that gets unlocked, it actually goes onto our character in an equipment slot. It goes in the left equipment slot, and we're going to go ahead and just put that right there, and then we're going to equip our guitar right over top of it. And let's see what this guy is. He is some knight's armor, requires 1 red to equip, and you can see here this is already getting pretty powerful. I can use 2 stamina to block 3 damage. That is not messing around. You can see there's 3 shields. I believe this goes up to, there's one item that has 6 on it, so it gets quite powerful. And it's really important to have good armor. It's not that useful during the game. It's kind of an interesting trap that we noticed the first couple times we played. When you are adventuring out in the world, you don't take damage all that often, especially if you're playing conservatively, and maybe we were playing too conservatively. But when it comes to fighting the Demon Lord at the end, armor is very important. So make sure you have good armor equipped. Don't just get good weapons and items. So we're going to put this in our gear bag as well. Next, we're going to check achievements. There's two types of achievements we can unlock here. One of them is the gem pairs, and the other one is the skill tree. And we'll see here that I've got 1, 2, 3 skills unlocked, and the level 1 is 3. So we'll go ahead and grab that achievement, and we can put it next to our board. And this guy here is going to give us 1 extra block during the demon phase. So we'll go ahead and keep that face down so nobody else knows. Don't tell anybody, and then we'll use this when we fight the demon lord later on in the game. The second one is gems, and we actually have 2 pairs of gems as well. We have 2 blue gems and 2 red gems, so we also get that achievement. You see right here, this one is a +2 that we can use during the demon lord fight. Now these are consumed when you use them during the demon lord fight, which we'll talk about later, but just to keep that in mind. These are kind of one-time bonuses, but they are very handy. Okay, that was a really good turn for our dancer. We unlocked 2 achievements and we got some cool items. I'm really excited to probably rest and get some stuff equipped. Just one thing I wanted to point out on the outlaw, as I was taking his turn, he fought these 3 demons here, but he did not have enough dice to defeat them all. But he did do 1 of the 2 damage on this blue level 2 guy here. And what you do in that particular case is you take these gray hit tokens once you're done with the combat, and you replace the die that did the damage with a hit token. That lets you know that you've already done that. You don't need to do that again in another combat. So you don't lose progress on demons even if you don't defeat them, which is really cool. Next, we're going to go ahead and do another rest action on our dancer here. So we're going to go ahead and recover all of our focus as well as all of our stamina. Pretty straightforward. And then we're going to figure out what we want to equip. Now we do have some new items here that I'm pretty excited about equipping, and I should have enough gems, I think, to get everything equipped. So we're going to go ahead and first we're going to swap out this war axe here. We're going to take that off, and we're going to equip the Elwyn's blade there into that slot, and we're going to use these 2 gems to equip it. Next, we're going to go ahead and equip this knight's armor, which requires 1 red gem. So we're being a little conservative here by taking another rest. Mainly, I ended up spending a lot of my focus and stamina on that one fight. I'm hoping that now that I've got these 3 items, especially this sword, I'll be able to do some combats. A few combats in a row before having to rest again. Next, we'll go ahead and sell this war axe here for a potion. I don't think we're going to need this anymore, so we'll discard this card and we'll get 1 potion. And we're going to grab a stamina potion because I have quite a bit of focus and not very much stamina. And I feel like I'm going to maybe be a little reckless, and so I'm going to be using quite a bit to defend myself. So let's just have that on hand just in case we need it. Finally, we're going to check achievements. The topmost achievement for item levels is 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. But as I showed you earlier, that achievement was removed at the beginning of the game because we're playing a 2-player game. So even though I qualified for yet another achievement, I don't get it this time. If I want to get an item-based achievement, it needs to be 7 levels instead. Now on the Outlaw's last turn, he moved here to the next to last space, and we're going to be doing another move, which means we're going to be moving into the treasure chest space on the board. Now, this whole turn goes just like normal. We don't do the treasure chest until the very end of the move action, just like it says here on our handy cheat sheet. We do all the normal steps, and at the very end, we check to see if we have a treasure chest, and then we resolve it. So we've advanced. We're going to go ahead and reveal demons. It is a level 2 demon, so we're going to go ahead and reveal a blue level 2 demon with a helm, and that is perfect. That's exactly what I'm looking for. I don't have a helmet yet, and it's blue, and I love me the blues right now, so we're going to go ahead and grab that. We'll put that on our board, and now we will do the treasure chest. The way the treasure chest works is first step is you're going to reveal all of the demons on the board. You're going to flip them all over so that you can see all of their items. Whoops, and hopefully you don't throw your outlaw too far across the table when you're doing that. So we'll go ahead and reveal all of these, flip them all over. You don't really have to leave them in pairs anymore. I'm doing that here. But really what you're going to be doing is you're creating a market. Well, not really a market. It's a treasure chest, right? Poof, a bunch of loot explodes. Here's all this loot. And then in player order, starting with the player who's landed on the treasure chest space, everybody's going to get to take a free piece of loot off the board. Now, even though these were in pairs, you don't get both pieces. You're just going to take 1. So we're going to look at all of this wonderful equipment here, all of this beautiful loot that we just got sprinkled all over the ground, and we're going to take some for ourselves. Now I already have kind of a front runner, but let's just look and see what we got here. Obviously level 2 items are a little more desirable than level 1. Of course, there aren't any because we've been picking up all the level 2 creatures to fight. The one thing that our character is missing, since we just picked up a helm, is an accessory. Accessories are cool. They typically give you more stamina or focus. So, for example, these Soldier's Van Braces here give you 1 extra stamina as long as you have it equipped. And this Jade Wristband here gives you 1 extra focus. I'm going to go ahead and grab the Jade Wristband. I don't know if this is what I need. I do have an accessory demon on my board as well, but frankly, out of everything that's out there, I'm not too excited about anything, so I'm going to go ahead and grab this. And that goes straight into my gear bag. I don't have to fight the demon or anything. It's just, hey, treasure chest, lots of loot. Now next, the Outlaw gets to go, and he's going to go ahead and grab a sword here, this blue sword he's really excited about. And then the rest of these all just get discarded. They all are just going to go away. They're going to go back to the Hordes board in the discard pile for the appropriate level. Now then, you might be thinking, okay, but there's no demons left, so now what? But what's really clever is here on the next board, whichever board you have, in our case, because we're playing a 2-player game, it's Act 3. Whichever board you have, whoever moves first is going to land on this space right here, which adds 5 more pairs. You can see here this is a pair of level 1 and level 2 demons. And then right after that, you're jumping straight into level 3s. It escalates very quickly. The other interesting thing here is this Divine Intervention tile. As you can see here, it's got some dice on it. As soon as somebody moves into this space, sorry guys, as soon as somebody moves into this space, every player is going to grab one of these die and put it in their piles. They now get 4 dice as long as they've unlocked at least 1 piece with equipment. So there's this natural progression as you level up, or you'll level up through this natural progression as you play through the game. Well, at this point, we're about halfway through the game already. So we've cleared Act 1 here. We're about ready to start Act 3 because it's a 2-player game. We're only going to be going through these 2 boards. Once we get to this end of this board, we're going to be pulling a chapel out and putting it on the table so everybody can interact with that. And then we're going to be fighting the final showdown with the Demon Lord. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip ahead to the end of the game once the chapel is unlocked, show you how that works, and then show you how the Demon Lord fight works. So we're going to skip the rest of this. I'll give you a quick tour of what our character has unlocked once I get to the end of it, just so you're not completely lost in the dark. But I want to focus on showing you how the game plays, and the final board and the demon is a little different, so I want to make sure you're ready just in case you're going to be doing that as well. So we're going to time skip to the future.